Okay, so let me show you how the American Default Prevention Program works with the help of a couple of examples here. So this is a beautiful home, much more beautiful than my artistic skills show. And the homeowner of this property, they own a home that is worth $200,000. So this house is worth $200,000, and the mortgage balance that they have on this property is $180,000. That's the unpaid balance on the mortgage. Now, the arrears, that means the missed payments, the late fees, and all the other charges that the lender has added to the mortgage are $10,000. So in order to reinstate this loan and save it from foreclosure, get it out of default, this homeowner would have to bring $10,000 to reinstate. Now, the total payoff of the loan, if the homeowner was to actually pay off the complete loan now, is $190,000. So that's the $180,000 unpaid balance plus the $10,000 in arrears. So total payoff is $190,000. That means that this homeowner has equity in the property of $10,000 because their house is worth $200,000. They owe a total of $190,000. So their equity is $10,000. So let's assume now that this homeowner is in distress, as we see. They haven't paid their mortgage for a while, and maybe foreclosure is looming. But let's say that in this example, the owner has enough time to actually put this home on the market to sell it before an actual foreclosure takes place. So a lot of times, homeowners don't have that luxury because a foreclosure maybe is already scheduled, or there's simply not enough time to sell it on the market. But in this case, we'll assume that there is enough time and the owner puts the property on the market. Now, we're assuming that the homeowner sells the property for the actual amount that it's worth, $200,000, which is highly unlikely because if you are going to put this property on the market, in order to fetch $200,000, you would probably need to put in some kind of money, be it for painting and cleaning of carpets, or maybe some hardwood floors need a little bit of love and sweat. So we would actually assume that the homeowner needs to put in probably another $5,000, $7,000, maybe $10,000 to fetch the market price of $200,000. But we'll give this homeowner the benefit of the doubt and assume that he was actually able to sell the property on the market fairly quickly for exactly $200,000. Great. Now, the issue with this is, if you put a property on the market for $200,000, by the time that realtor, closing costs, title insurance, and all the other fees are paid for, these $200,000 actually end up being approximately 8% less. So the $200,000 net actually end up being $184,000. And so the issue is, if the net proceeds at closing are $184,000, while this homeowner owes a total of $190,000, what happens is that they actually have to bring $6,000 to the closing table. because their payoff is $190,000. Their net proceeds of the sale is $184,000. So they have actually to pay $6,000 at closing. Now, for a homeowner that got into distress and wasn't able to make their payments for a while, that's a pretty difficult proposition to make, to actually bring $6,000 to the closing table, although their value, their house is worth $200,000 when they actually only owe $190,000. So a better alternative is what we offer at American Default Prevention, which is we take over this mortgage, we pay all the arrears, so we pay the bank for all the missed payments, late charges, penalty fees, and all the other fees that they actually add on. So this gets paid. We take over the $180,000 mortgage. And now what happens is, at closing, this homeowner gets paid $10,000. So whatever they owe minus whatever their property is worth is what they will actually get at closing. Exactly $10,000. So you can see how powerful this is. Instead of having to actually bring $6,000 to the closing table, this homeowner ends up receiving $10,000 and can now use those $10,000 to move on with their life. What's even better than getting $10,000 and avoiding foreclosure is the fact that since we are paying the arrears, bringing the loan current, and continue to make those monthly payments every single month on the dot, this homeowner's credit score improves dramatically. And you might have heard about these kind of situations, or maybe even experienced it, but a ruined credit is a sheer nightmare. So this is an example for a homeowner that has little to no equity in their property. They have 5% equity in their property, $10,000 out of the $200,000. But of course, there is also a different example where this homeowner, in example number 2, they don't owe $180,000. They owe $130,000. And their arrears, let's say, are not $10,000, they're $20,000. So in total, they owe $150,000. So now this homeowner has equity worth $50,000. So it's a good chunk of equity in the property, and they don't want to sell. They want to stay in the house. So in this example, this homeowner can make use of our short-term lending option. So what does that mean? We come in and again reinstate the loan worth $20,000. So we basically lend this homeowner the $20,000 to save their property from foreclosure. And now we put a lien on this property for $20,000. So now, if this homeowner was to sell their property, American Default Prevention would, at closing, get those $20,000 back. So in this case, let's say, for example, this homeowner has an inheritance coming, or they have another property that they're currently selling, but it would just take too long time before the foreclosure sale happens. So they basically need to bridge these arrears to get a loan to actually save this property from foreclosure. Now, getting a conventional loan a lot of times can be burdensome. And in this case, most likely the credit score of this homeowner already got damaged by the fact that they're behind on their mortgage. So getting this loan for $20,000 can actually end up being really complicated. With American default prevention, as long as there is enough equity and as long as there is either income or other funds coming in to this homeowner in the near future, we can come in and lend those $20,000. So, in a nutshell, as you can see in these two examples, the single and foremost, most important point is to save a home from foreclosure and get it out of default in order to actually get the homeowner back into control of their financial situation and remove the burden of default, of late charges, of extra fees that get added on, and of foreclosure. If you'd like to learn more how we do this and to see if one of the two options is a good fit for you, book a call with us. We'll do a free evaluation of your situation, and then we'll see if one of the two options is the best bet for you. And if not, we'll actually even point you into the right direction.